to Disney Plus. So Disney Plus has been in the Philippines for like over a year now, and I feel like that the service is still substandard for a lot of reasons. For starters, I was stoked to jump into Disney Plus because it's more cost effective to subscribe to watch a WWE show than on the network, and the network eventually shut down, losing us, taking away access to past episodes of Raw, past episodes of classic wrestling, ECW, WCW. You can no longer watch that legally here anymore. Documentaries, original shows. Edgy Christian's totally awesome. The Edgy Christian show was something I was fond of. Camp WWE was something I was enjoying, and now that I can't access that anymore. And it gets even worse when you want to watch, when you're paying for a legal service that promises to provide you content, and their delivery is much worse than a pirate stream. Royal Rumble was a big screw up for Disney Plus this year. The system was down. People could not watch the first hour and a half. That's how bad it was. We paid hoping to watch Royal Rumble, and we couldn't do that live. Yeah, you can watch the replay. Yeah, you can access the replay. But we wanted to watch it live and share the emotions that millions of people around the world were tuned into, and we wanted to share that experience. But Disney Plus failed to do that. And even more so, I don't want to show the content here because I might get flagged, but Disney Plus has really bad quality, worse quality over a pirate stream. And I don't mean that as an exaggeration. I can forgive not streaming at 60 FPS. That's fine by me. That is totally okay with me because I know that bandwidth restrictions be damned. But when you do not optimize your stream in such a way that 30 FPS feels like 15, we have a problem. And even more so that when you pay for a service that promises 1080p streaming, 4K streaming in some content, you can't even access that because your hardware is not their ideal hardware. Case in point. Some people don't there's Chromecast, that there's Apple TV, smart TVs in general, like Samsung Smart TV, Sony Smart TVs. You can access those just fine with good quality streams. But if you're something like a subpar or budget Android TV, if you're using something like that's not a Chromecast, has Chromecast features, but it's not a Chromecast, you are relegated down to 720p only, even on a browser. That's been unless you're on a MacBook unless you're on Mac OS using Safari, you can watch 1080p content just fine. But if you're gonna watch on something that's on Chrome, you're relegated to 720 only. You see where this is where this is problematic for people who pay for the service. I paid for the whole year and I got really bad performance, that to the point that I didn't watch Disney Plus as much as everybody should. Everybody in my family managed to watch it just fine. So okay, my return of investment has already come back to me because people enjoyed their content. I didn't. But just because, first-hand experience. See, because it's not I don't feel like it's privileged to complain about something that because I'm on worse hardware, it's discriminating, to be honest. Because my PC can handle 4K streaming just fine. My PC can handle 4K resolution just fine. But because it's arbitrarily not the ideal hardware, or it's not the ideal platform, you are restricting me to use 720p content. And imagine like you spend on a nice 50-inch TV, and you're only bogged down to 720 because of a technicality. You're not technically a Chromecast. You are using an Android TV stick that uses Chromecast-like features, but it doesn't make it a Chromecast. Hence, you are not allowed to watch on 1080p. F you, right? Yeah, so this really feels really bad. Like, you can feel like this is where I can come back down to piracy is more morally okay because companies are strong arming you into really bad experiences because you are not on their ideal platforms. Heck, just because my developer options were on Android, my e-wallet, my virtual wallet was inaccessible just because because it was on. That's BS for me because I turn on developer options for a faster phone for certain features that I want to fix that are only accessible in developer options. And because I turn it on, I can't use it anymore because Gcash, I'll say it as it is. Gcash sucks because they are saying, here's what they actually told me. It's part of a BSP requirement to restrict installation or restrict access to unsecured devices. And I checked. It was not a requirement. It was a recommendation. You can look it up. You can simply say BSP unsecured devices on Google. It will give you the first result will be their guidelines from 2021 recommending app developers and platforms to tell you to use this content to help mitigate fraudulent transactions, to stop people from losing access to their livelihoods. But the thing is, they stated it was a requirement. That's why I find it BS, because it's not a requirement, it's a recommendation. It's it's something you could put into, but I have the very right to complain about it because you are restricting me from my freedom of using the device as I please. And it's up to the user to make sure that they do not get their information stolen. That's why you secure the devices in other ways. Don't go into weird websites, or don't go to weird do not download suspicious apps that will steal your data and sell it to the next bidder who will use that to make you a criminal. That's on you. That's your responsibility, not the company's responsibility. And yet there's that. I pirate because I'm poor. It is okay too. There are multiple reasons why. That's why I advocate that content needs to be affordable. It has to be accessible. It creates incentive for people to legally pay for a service. You can look up on Pirate Software's stream. He has a particular clip there that mentions about his game being much cheaper in Brazil. And yet it becomes the number 2 source of income for his livelihood, because people in Brazil are able to afford it, because games are stupid expensive because of legislation in Brazil. But by creating an incentive to pay less for content that they will enjoy regardless, it becomes evident that people are willing to pay. You just need to understand that not everyone has the same privilege to pay. Entertainment should not be a luxury. Escapism should not be a luxury. Should not be behind a paywall. That people that you have to that companies will go, haha, you're too poor to enjoy this. Artists were made because of pirate content. I can assure you that there has been at least one artist, one digital artist on Facebook, on Instagram, that have pirated their Photoshop just to learn. That's the reality of it. People will be willing to pay, but you have to also give them what if I don't want to pay even if it's still affordable? Then you're a criminal! Joke. Off with her head! But yeah, that's the thing I want, that you can't really stop piracy, okay? The thing is, you can't really stop piracy, but you can curb it. The way you can, there will still be people that want to pirate their games, but that will still want to pirate software, that will still want to pirate the very entertainment that they consume for multiple reasons. But by creating an avenue that makes it more affordable for people to enjoy all kinds of content regardless of how much they're paying, it encourages people to actually support the product. And I hate that maybe you're gonna say like, oh, servers are expensive, development is expensive. Then probably then a business like that should not exist. If it becomes too expensive to operate, a service like that should not exist. Ironic, because I'm on Twitch running that relies on donations and ads to actually make a living out of this. And I have to have a day job just so I can be able to do this at night and have fun, right? But that's besides the point. A business like that should not exist if you're gonna say it's too expensive to upkeep and you can't even make enough money to justify keeping the lights on. By creating a higher pay tier for people to enjoy your content. It makes sense if you're going to be paying for a collector's edition. It's going to make sense if you buy like a board game, because printing is expensive, shipping is expensive, marketing is expensive, IP legal is expensive. But you have to also consider the fact that that there are people that would want to enjoy your content as much, right? So why not also create an incentive for them to enjoy your content by maybe making it affordable?